All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Husker Heat. As you can clearly see on the screen, this is Andy Ketterson, and there's the little ball of energy and daughter and love of my life next to me, Miley, who just there's who just loves nothing more than thinking of all the eyes sitting on her, watching her during our show. Miley, how are you this evening?
Oh, just great.
See, even if she's irritated, look at that smile. This is why we love her. So hey, welcome to We Swept Northwestern week. We don't like Northwestern. They've won the regular season the last 3 years, and when we won on Sunday for the second win of the three, we clinched the series. And that's the first series that Northwestern has lost to a conference opponent since 2022. Meaning, they either swept a 2-game series or won at least 2 out of 3 of a 3-game series. So we ought to be pretty proud of that. And then not only that, we run ruled them. What was it 11-1 on Saturday, 10-1 on Sunday. Ended both of those in 5 innings, and that's the first time in 8 seasons anybody's done that to Northwestern. Now, there's a little bit of bad blood there. I don't know. I can't remember all the exacts of it, but it kind of came down to weather the last 2 years. 2 years ago, we went up to Northwestern and basically had to play almost the entire 3 games in the rain. And then, and then there were delays, but never ran home early or anything like that on Sunday. Well, last year, Northwestern wins 2 of there's 3 games scheduled. They win the first 2. We go down to Lincoln with our Corn Nation crew. We always try to get together for a softball, baseball game like once a season. That was it. We're under the tarp for a while. It's gonna rain till about 1:30 or 2, and they start getting near the time. Like traveling teams can have a drop dead time, especially if they have a flight where if we can't start the game by this time, we'll go home. If it's kind of close, usually they'll stick around. There was a big thing with the Purdue baseball team and the Huskers. But this time, here was Northwestern, I guess. It's kind of dicey. It's, I think, a little past the time, and they're like, whoops, see ya, because they'd already won the 2. What for them, I don't think it was worth the risk to play us, so they snuck out of Dodge, whereas that's a win we really could have used when we were trying to get get a spot last year. And then we ended up just being out of it, too, so I don't think it had as much to do with Northwestern as the fact we only had 1 healthy pitcher. But no one said publicly it was all fine, but I heard that behind the scenes Huskers were a little miffed that Northwestern skipped town. So it was kind of nice to punch them in the mouth figuratively in this series. And that we did, 11-1, 10-1, like I said. And then and something we're going to talk about a little bit, our bats didn't really show up nearly that strong for the final game, but Jordy Ball did, and we finally got a shutout and won 3-0. So that brings us to 32-10 on the season, 11-3 in the Big Ten, where we are now alone in 3rd place. Northwestern was 9-1 going into that series. We were 8-3, and so we have passed them, and we trail Oregon and UCLA, who are both 12-1 by a game and a half. But we're in a really nice place to be with 7 games to go. Now, here's one thing I just looked up because it suddenly occurred to me, hey, we've got 4 more teams. Southern Cal doesn't have softball, so we have 17 teams now instead of 14. And I was wondering, okay, what's the format going to be? Because with 14, they're just like 12 are in, the bottom 2 are out. 12 are still in, now the bottom 5 are out. So you don't want to be messing around.
For the tournament?
In the tournament, just still 12.
Jesus.
It sure is what I was seeing on the Big Ten's page for a bracket this year. So I guess that's one way to figure out how to do it is just say 5 of you go pound sand. So you still want to be in the top 4 and skip the first 2 rounds, because what they do is they have the bottom 4 play in, and then you have a round of 8, and then those 4 winners play the top 4 seeds. So you get 1 and possibly 2 days off by finishing top 4. Remember last year we had like 7 or 8 teams going into the final weekend that all had a shot at that top 4, and Nebraska won 2 out of 3, but ended up 3rd. So let's just like try not to have to do that again. Is that you breathing?
No.
Oh my God! I thought you were going like maybe it's just some
Darth Vader. Darth Vader's in the room.
Yeah, I was like. So anyway, and as a result of sweeping Northwestern, even though they're not doing that great, well, compared to, I mean, for them, they've been a top 20 team the last 3 years. This year, they got to 9-1 by playing a really easy conference schedule thus far, and then played us, who, you know, we're back in the 20s in RPI, and we're now ranked. We're back ranked in all 4 polls, but it still by record looked like, hey, same old Northwestern. But they've been clobbered, I think, by every ranked team they've played so far this year. Maybe they beat Duke. I think they upset Duke.
Yeah, they beat Duke.
Okay, but other than that, they were just getting bombed by the better teams. And so somebody asked me, a buddy of mine, he said, he goes, who do you expect to win this weekend? And I said, we should sweep them, but we're finding ways not to sweep teams that we're much better than. And what do you think about that? About our inability to sweep?
Well, they finally did it. I mean,
what's that?
They finally did it.
Hit? Not on Sunday. They just scored 3, or Monday.
You said sweep. Their inability
finally. I thought you said they finally hit.
No. They finally swept.
Yeah, absolutely. They finally got it done, and against a better team than, was it Purdue and Iowa, managed to come steal games on Sunday, and well, let's talk about this right now. They've had trouble scoring in that third game for the last 3 weekends. They've scored respectively against Purdue, then Iowa, then us, 2, 2, and 3 after being in, I think, double figures for just about those other 6 games that they played. I think maybe we won like 6 or 7-2, but I mean, mostly we're pounding teams with 10+ runs, and and then we just can't hit on the final day. I'm glad we pulled one out, and that's because of Jordy Ball, but we got to start learning to hit on Sunday, or in this case Monday. That's that second weird series we've had where it goes Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and even Miley was making fun of me because I do the write up for Saturday's game and put, hey, and called it Friday night, and she's like, ding dong, it's Saturday, and I've got to do my best. I knew that. So anyway, it's like
this weekend's only Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, this coming weekend, right? So then we get Sunday and Monday off. But anyway, I mean, I have no idea. What would you any kind of reason you can think of? It doesn't even have to be sports expertise. Why can't we hit on Sunday or Monday? Why can't we hit in that third game? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe is setting in at this point, but they only played 5 innings in the first 2 games, so I don't see how that could be used. But
no, that's the crazy thing is you've been mashing it out in 5 innings, and then you give them 7 innings, and they can't score over 3. I'm just wondering what.
I feel like it's like a mental thing they can't get over at this point because they won this time.
Yeah.
But they still weren't. They weren't dominant like they had been. So I don't know a mental block or what.
And I think each time they were facing the same pitcher in Game 3 that they faced in Game 1, and normally the more you see a pitcher, the better you hit them. You start to figure out what their tendencies are, where they're going to go, and so that's strange that those pitchers get stronger on Sunday. And I don't know. It's an odd thing. And I like what you said is maybe it just got mental after they could only get 2 runs on Purdue. And then they were like, oh, here we are. And we're not scoring on Iowa. And then they have that weird inning where Iowa kind of blew up. And also is the crazy thing is that Iowa third game, they still got runners on second and third with 1 out. And then it was like Sammy doubled. And then I think it was Hannah just hits an absolute rifle shot right at the second baseman, and then they double Sammy off, or there was nobody out, second, third, nobody out, and we're only down 3. That's not that big a deal for this Husker team, the way they've hit this year. So I don't know. I feel like that's something. I hope if it's in their heads that they're getting out of it pretty quick here. Real quick, let's go. Let's talk the polls. We're back in all 4 ranked in all 4 polls now. 23rd in ESPN's, 21st in D1 softball, 22nd in Softball America, and 18th in USA Today NFCA. And so we'd been out of D1 softball and let's see. I think we snuck back into 25th in Softball Americas, but now we're pretty solidly back in. If they split with Indiana, I feel like we'll be right back out of a couple of them. They've got a decent RPI, 49th, but still feel like that's one we better win a pair. We're gonna dump a little. Don't laugh.
Okay. But how you said it.
Yeah, that one's on me. So we're 27th in the RPI, like I said. Our strength of schedule fell to 61, but I think that's what you have teams like Minnesota's just falling off the cliff. I didn't think they were very good when we played them, but they were still up around 70-something. They're like down to 115th. They're at the rock bottom of the conference. We probably won't see them in West Lafayette for the tournament.
Our strength of schedule is actually 60.
They go back. Well, yeah, they're playing games today. Yeah, like I said, I did this down in Lincoln at the press conference this morning, and now that they've played the games, everything shifts a little. Is our RPI still 27?
Yes, it is.
Woohoo! I made a note to my. What's that?
You did something right.
Well, it was all right when I did it. It's not like I'm writing down the wrong numbers, but I actually made a note to myself to go, here's what I've got, and then go, Miley, how has it changed since then? So our strength of schedule went up, and what that meant was, one of our opponents won a game, or one of their opponents did well and did bump us up a spot. So yeah, like I said, it's nice.
10-1 at home.
What's that?
We're 10-1 at home.
Oh, sweet.
Who's that one?
Purdue.
Oh, good job.
Yep. Hey, I go to these games sometimes. Okay, so here's where we are. Is they like on the Warren Nolan site, they've got the predictive RPI where they pick the rest of your games and estimate where you're going to end up. Right now, they've got us. We're getting closer to that magic 16 spot where we get to likely host a regional, and now our predictive RBI has us up to number 20.
Where's the predictive RBI?
If you'll find it, they've got a. I think if you go to the RPI page, they've got a click for that on there, or if you just go to the team page, then they've got that you can access that team's RPI page as well, and then you have the option to choose the prediction. But right now we're 20, so I mean I think last week it was 27, so that was a nice sweep, and they've got us beating Indiana like both games, but they've got us winning the first one 9-0. I wonder who they think is pitching first, and then they've got us winning 8-6, and because they got 6-2
and 6-4
for the scores now, the predicted scores.
Yeah, 6-2, 6-4.
That's crazy because they had literally this morning they had 9-0 and 8-6, but I don't know, maybe they heard that Hannah's starting. So we were talking a little before this for the stretch run. The way I'm thinking is that we've got one person who always, it's like Nebraska 1864 or something, that always comments after the recaps. And that person was saying, hey, I think, we're getting to where we might have a shot at hosting that regional. And that's where I sat down and did a little thinking. And I went, I think we've got to win 7 out of 8, and we can't lose a single game to Maryland. Because Maryland's a bottom team like Minnesota. So we've got to win 4 out of 5 against Washington and Indiana combined, because we have 3 against Washington, and then we only have 2 against Indiana.
They have us losing 2 to Washington.
They have us losing 1 to Washington.
2.
Have us losing 2 to Washington. Interesting.
They have us winning the first one 7-4. And losing 3-2 and 5-5.
The next 2 they win 5-3.
No, they lose 3-2 and 5-3.
Oh, okay.
But they win the first one.
Okay, gotcha.
And then they have us beating Maryland for Bradley, though.
Well, I don't want to drive all the way to Washington just to watch them win. So I hope they're very, very wrong. Mark that one off. All right, let's talk about who was hot this week. And I think there's one name way at the top of that list. Jordy Ball did just found out right as the game was starting on Monday. The Big Ten announcement, I think, came off about 3 minutes after the game started, that she had won her 4th Big Ten Pitcher of the Week award. And here's the thing with her hitting. Now we're gonna have honors at the end of the year, and she's probably going to be up there for pitcher and player the way she hits. And so I don't know what you do I have a feeling they just give her pitcher and ignore her as a player. But for the weekend, she was 6 for 9 with 2 doubles, 2 homers, 8 runs batted in, and 3 runs scored out of that leadoff spot. And so hit 667, but she also took 2 walks. One of them was intentional. They just put her on base rather than pit. I think with with nobody on base or maybe just somebody on second, they didn't even want to mess with pitching to her. And so she walked twice, which made her 8 for 11 for the weekend, which made her on base percentage, I think, 727. That's a pretty incredible on base percentage for slow pitch softball, let alone fast pitch. So she was just destroying everything. And there was one part, and if anybody who read the recap would have seen kind of how pissed I got. But the Northwestern fans, unaccustomed to just having the Huskers kick the crap out of them, or anybody else for that matter, just started harassing her and the ump in the bottom of the 6th. And this is when I first heard it. And then I think Nate was talking about it on the radio, Nate Rohr on Nebraska radio. And they just started yelling at the ump and yelling at her that, she's taking too long to pitch. And first of all, that's never been an issue with her. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, you could hear him and you, Jordy, and the other thing is there's a clock there, and usually out behind the outfield fence, field view of the ump. They don't need your help to tell. It's right there if she's too long. So I don't know if she heard that or not. I'm sure she could hear it, but a lot of the times, in any sport you play, you don't hear anything from the fans, and just yell and scream, parents, they can't hear you. But I was wondering if she did, because here's what she did after that was going on in the bottom of the 6th. Here's the last batter up to that inning, struck out swinging. Jordy comes up, sends a double to the fence, knocks in one of the next 2 insurance runs, and then comes in to pitch, and because they did go into the top of the 7th, only up 1-0, and then got a couple knocked in, and then she comes in the bottom of the 7th, struck out swinging, struck out swinging, struck out swinging. And, especially on the second one, she was really you could see her fist pumping and screaming. And I was just waiting for her to turn to the crowd and go, suck it. So I liked how she reacted to that. Did you catch all that on Monday?
Well, I was watching the game, but I had my sound low, so I didn't hear it.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering if you just saw the strike me out the side to put it away. Yeah. That gets you going. That got me going a little, just because I remembered all that crud. But so anyway, Jordy, I think you can put her safely down as the hottest Husker of the weekend. Sam Bland continued to do Sam Bland stuff. 6 of 12, a homer, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored, and then other than that, it looks like Hannah looked a little rough because she was only 3 of 9, but had a homer and 3 RBIs. But she drew 3 walks, so she's still on base 500. So she might not have been hitting her way on, but the old Moneyball line, she gets on base. What do I give a shit if it's a hit or a walk? So we love Brad Pitt for that one. And then there's a few people in the not hot. Well, Olivia DiNardo had just been on fire. So she went 2 for 10, but with her walk, she was still 3 for 11. So it wasn't awful. But no one was really bad. Yeah, Ava was one I had. She was 1 for 6, 2 for 7 with her walk, but she still scored 3 runs and contributed. And then Laura Kamen's who was hitting in the 9 spot because she'd been a little slumping a little. She was 1 for 7, 2 for 8 with the walk, but she knocked in a run and scored 2. So even though Even though she didn't hit great, but she still contributed. And that's all you could ask. See if you could take a wild guess, though, who I was happiest for on Monday.
On Monday?
No, because
she only really came in to hit once.
What's that?
She only really came in to hit at the end of the game.
But you're close there, because somebody else came in to hit once who'd been in a really bad slump and delivered. Abby Squire.
Oh, yeah.
Just got off to a rocket hot start to the year. I mean, such a hot start that I think she was something like 0 for her last 11 or 12 and is still hitting 342. But she came on in the seventh and delivered a shot and knocked in that first insurance run. I was just really happy for her because, she's gone just straight to the bench because they've got, I think, Hannah playing, either Jordy or Hannah, the two of them playing left and center, and then they've moved her to left, and then they have like Natalia Hill in center, and Abby's just pitch hitting, and I think they're just hoping, she'd start getting it back. And you're always going to get your chance with it. Even the fact that she went to the bench had me thinking maybe even in practice she's not hitting, and it's not a mental thing. It's just she's kind of, lost the thick part of her swing. But I was very, what's that? Go ahead.
I said.
But for those of you who don't know, it's like I'm not seeing him, I'm just seeing glances, but we're being harassed by text, or I'm being harassed by text here, and Miley's over there trying not to crack up. So we might as well let you know that people are interfering with us. And real quick, shout out to Kylie McGee. She actually now has her ERA down to 3.99, and I mean it was up near 5. But she threw 5 decent innings, 3 hits and a walk. Struck out 4, only walked 2 on the Sunday start, the game 2 start.
Yeah, I was very nervous to see her starting.
Now,
so if I was Jordan or Hannah, right? She's the pitcher of the two.
Yeah, Hannah pitches. Yeah.
So if I see Jordan or Hannah's pitching, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be okay. Yeah. And then it's like Emerson and Caitlin. But then it's like, I'm like,
yeah, it's just, and she had a 2. I think she had like a 2 1/3 inning scoreless where she came in that Iowa game the weekend before when Jordy inexplicably gave up a bunch of hits and then just started drilled 3 batters in a row, and she came and put out that fire, and I think pitched another 2 innings without giving up a run. So she has brought her ERA down. She's got good stuff. It's just it doesn't always go where she wants it to. So it was nice to see her getting it under control a little. I'm just wondering if they did that because Rhonda was feeling a little more confident in her, and not just feeling a little more confident in her, but I wondered if she just wanted to have Hannah just play the field more because she was hitting so well and didn't want her worrying about pitching, because that could be a deal too. But anyway, let's see if we got any comments up. Corn Nation's Minnie is watching us tonight. She usually has something going on Tuesdays. And then for the battle of who logged in first once they saw the show posted, Minnie edged out Highlander to gun on the football and the movie pods. We've got 3 or 4 of them that have a little contest to see who can get on the comments page first. And nope. It's a Corn Nation ruling. Minnie got it by a minute, and hey from Highlander. But good to see those guys in here tonight. Here's what's going to kind of be nuts. We've got a team that hits as well as we do this weekend. Now, I am absolutely going to give that a caveat. Is they just played some pretty garbage teams. And we'll get into just a sec here. We'll get into Indiana. But so I'm not sure they're quite as good, but like we've got a pretty incredible team batting average, 355. Indiana hits 384. And they have both power hitters and those awful slappy runny girls that just love to run around in the box and just try to chop it into the dirt.
I want to chop a freaking baseball bat into their knees.
See?
I think those girls, it's annoying. They look sissy.
They look what?
They look like sissy pussies.
Right. And I swear to God, on 80% of them, they've stepped out of the box by the time they hit the ball, and it seldom gets called. So it just drives you nuts. And last year, I remember that was one of the things that. Let's talk about that real quick.
Do batting coaches, like, do they coach girls to do that? I'm confused how to pick that up.
I think that's. I mean, it seems so widespread that I'm sure it's just an accepted way of like the little fast girls to hit, or I mean, it doesn't have to be little, but with fast ones they'll get them, to where they do that little run up the box and then just try to slap it and chop it.
It just seems like a high error, low reward. Like,
yeah. But that's where I was going to go with this. Is it turned into a really high reward thing? Because Indiana, like they've got. This isn't a team. We've played so many of these teams that, hey, we stole 70 bases and only hit 15 homers, and the Huskers are up to like 84 homers now. But these guys have 51 homers, and then they've stolen 76 bases. So they'll come at you a lot of ways. Not everybody's been able to use that against us, but especially on stealing bases, because Ava Breadwell she does most of the catching, and she's just got a cannon. And anytime you have one of those fast teams, she's going to be behind the plate for all three. And she's only given up maybe 1 or 2 stolen bases the last 2 or 3 weekends. They haven't really been able to run on her as much as you would have thought. Like, who is that? Purdue had a team like that, had like 90-something steals. And I think they were only able to get one. But here's the history with Indiana. It's like, hey, we're coming off one bad blood. Here's some more bad blood. Last year, we run into Indiana in the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament. And the only healthy pitcher we had was Sarah Harness. So she's pitching every inning of every game, no matter what. And we're leading 3-0. And this is the second straight day she's pitched, leading 3-0 after 2 innings. And then in innings 4, 6, and 7, chip, they tie it up. So we're going into the 8th, 3-3, and then they just blow the doors off us. And so much of it was just with the choppy stuff. And because the upside to it is, if it's fast and you can get it down just in front of the catcher, in between the catcher and the pitcher, they're going to be 6 steps to first and at full speed before these guys can get their hands on the ball. And it does become a very tough out. And it's plays like that where you're stressed, knowing that you've got to fire it as hard as you can. That's where you're going to see them then throw it away. And if they throw it away down the right field line and they're not being backed up properly, these girls are standing on at least second, maybe third. But yeah, so they came back, bombed Nebraska with 6 runs in the top of the 8th. Nebraska did come back, get a couple, had runners on base, and then it fizzled out. So what looked like a trip to the finals against Michigan turned into heartbreak pretty quick. And I was going over to do some post-game interviews, and they were on one of the other fields, and here are the girls just devastated. Coaches are hardly hiding their sadness at the whole thing, and here's like the family out. And I just went up to Matt, our media guy, and who do you want to talk to? I'm like, Matt, just get him on the bus. We all saw it. I don't think I'm doing anybody any journalistic favors by having them like just heartbrokenly go through what we all just saw happen. And I'm like, I'm going to go write the recap. Everybody have a safe trip home. And yeah, there was just no way in hell. And I'm sorry for people. Hey, suck it up, do the interview. We all saw it happen. A little tougher when you're there. But so I'm thinking maybe they might want a little bit of Hoosier payback, shall we say, because we owe them one, and I say we give them 2. So anyway, rest of the offense here, we've got 84 homers, them 51. Now we've stolen 30 bases. We've got some gals that can run. Let's get to their players that can run. They've got this one. I have a feeling she's going to be absolutely a slappy runny hitter. Is Melina Wilkinson. She's stolen 18 bases out of 21 tries. They've got a just pinch runner. Like, they just ought to roster this gal as pinch runner. I think she's batted maybe 14 times, but she's played in every single game, no starts. Mostly just comes into pinch run, and she's stolen 14 bases and scored 16 runs just coming off the bench to run. And I mean, we've got a couple of those, but no, we've got nobody with those numbers just because we don't throw the pinch runners in and send them to steal right away. But who is it? We think of like Kennedy Williams, the basketball coach, Amy Williams' daughter, is a freshman.
I didn't put that together until they were talking about it during one of the games, where women's basketball lost in the first round. And then Amy Williams is here. Took a red eye to see the play. I was like, what?
Cool. Well, you know what? You go to incredible lengths to watch your kids play. Yeah. Am I right? Oh, might as well go. Here's time for my Propel plug.
God.
Propel, as always, if you're watching
it's not gonna happen.
I'm your guy.
No
one loves Propel like me. I am through the summer, the movie pods, the football pods. I'm the guy showing Propel. If there's any Propel execs out there, marketing especially, Propel, the Drink of Corn Nation podcast.
You need help.
Yeah. You saying there's something wrong with me?
Take that Propel and shove it down your throat.
No, that's just not going to happen. I remember there was a comedian. Well, I don't think he's dead yet, but Andrew Dice Clay kind of in the 80s became a big deal. And just that line reminded me of one where he goes, yeah, when I go to the mall, I just pull right into the handicap spot. I don't care. The security guards come up and go, hey, mister, you can't park there. That's only for the handicap. And I just go, saying there's nothing wrong with me. Walk right by. So, yeah, you see I need help. I'm like, I don't have that kind of money, and they can't do any good. They can't make any headway with that anyway, so we're just going to skip ahead. Now, here's where the difference in the two here's the difference in the two teams is our team ERA pitching is 2.34, and our WHIP, walks and hits per innings pitched, is 1.181, which means entire stat. So that includes that's not just Jordy. Hers are much better, but that means we put barely a runner an inning on base, a little over one. Their team ERA is 4.26, and their team WHIP is 1.657. And their top pitcher, and she's also one of their best hitters, is Brianna Copeland. She did some damage to us last year in that game, and she is 12-5, and she's thrown 40, 50 more innings than the other two pitchers. And she's got the worst ERA. She's got a 4.96 ERA, a 1.95 WHIP. Like, she's putting two runners on base in an average inning, not just a bad inning. And so, but apparently they're like, and we're still riding with her. So I don't know. The other two, have ERAs of 3.41 and 4.05, much lower WHIPs. And now here's the thing: Copeland will get some strikeouts. Like Jordy has struck out. Oh, geez, something like 185 now in 133 innings. So she's just, and especially as of like the last 6 weekends or so, she's just really started to mow people down. So in 101 innings, she struck out 117 batters. So she's got some stuff. But in 101 innings, she's walked 82 batters. I almost wouldn't let anybody swing till they had 2 strikes on her, until she got 2 strikes on them.
Like
82 walks. What's that?
It's like Kylie McGee with all her walks.
This is worse than Kylie. I mean, yeah. Kylie's, not great, because I think now she's up to like 33 innings. She's walked like 21 or 22. But that would be, this would be like the equivalent of her 33 innings. She'd be walking like 27 or 28. So this is just crazy that somebody that has control issues like these is giving up more than a hit an inning. I would, I might think of giving one of the other ones a shot. You know what I mean? Yeah, these texts keep rolling in. I'm going to have a lot of fun reading them after I'm done, and probably giving a little bit of shit to our texter. It's like, but I'm having too much fun watching Miley try not to laugh. So that's why I'm like not telling her to turn her phone off, because I'll see it. I'll see it pop up. Yeah. So I'll like, oh, her again, soldier on, and then watch Miley over there. So it's kind of entertaining. We'll finish up the Indiana thing and try to get us out of here and under the 45-minute mark. Let's see, because we got some Connor's in. I see the little cowboy emblem, and there's the old Connor S. and that's Miley's boyfriend, so he's come to lend his support. We now see that Nebraska is up 5-3 on Creighton, which was worth a woohoo from Highlander. And what is Connor saying here? I only drink Ghost, the official drink of the Crown Tournament. What's Ghost? Energy drink?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Crown Tournament that Nebraska basketball won?
Yeah, that's right. Look at all these teams who've won an NCAA tournament game. Big deal. Guess what? You know how many teams have won the Crown? That's right, Nebraska. Just us. So suck it. Let's see. Okay, what was this from? That's a flash. Oh, flash from the past. Probably when I was talking about Andrew. Yep, nice play. There it is. Let's see. I'll tell you what. I'm always getting crap because I talk too much, and then I don't do things like show them the tickers. Hey, merch at cobbycorn.com, support us. It was kind of disappointing, but in a way, it's a badge of honor. A few months ago, John he shared with us the letter he got from the university and the athletic department, informing him, well, we've determined that these shirts all use our trademark or whatever. And we're like, well, I thought we'd checked all this. Well, the only ones, apparently their trademark's an F-bomb, because the 3 shirts we were told we could no longer sell were the 3 that had the F-bomb, or it would always be like an F asterisk CK. But those are the ones that just did, and so I think he had a quick 2-day. They gave us a date, which was like a week away, and so John had a quick fire sale on the F-bomb stuff. And then we're also supposed to tell you, join Corn Nation's YouTube channel as a member. Just go on, if you're watching on YouTube, just make sure you're subscribed to Corn Nation. Makes us look good. So tell you what, let's see. I'll leave that one roll.
Got any more tickers?
Nope. There's a couple more, but one of them has like Minnie's email, so I don't know if they want us to have everybody email Minnie at hers. But let's see. I did find one quick video. No, 4 seconds.
Oh,
and
God.
no, it won't get us kicked off. No, I went to they invited us out to that January practice where it was like 55 degrees down in Lincoln. And I got a quick vid and so I'm just trying to take pictures and vid and worry about who they are later. Well, this one, and not only did they have the pitchers pitching, but Liv Farrell pitched, and Lori Sipple, the assistant coach who holds all the Nebraska pitching records, pitched. And that one, like 2 sides of just Nebraska pitching, all-time pitching history facing off against each other. And I just thought that was kind of neat. So anyway, Indiana, good record, 28-12, 7-7 in the Big Ten, and they're tied for 9th, and they haven't been rolling Big Ten pitching like they were rolling whatever kind of garbage they were playing before. They got in one tournament with, I think, Clemson, and then another one with Texas Tech, and they went 0-4, and I think got pounded by those two. The closest thing to a quality win they have is either BYU or Iowa State, and they're in the 40s and 50s in the RPI. Yeah, and who smoked them is more impressive than who they beat. They're 49th in the RPI and have the number 84th strength of schedule, and I think that strength of schedule might be a little generous. Let's buzz through their hitters and pitchers a little. I think, we talked about their pitchers. Their best hitter is Taylor Minnick. I'm guessing she leads off. She hits .513 with 12 homers, 49 RBIs, and has stolen eight bases at an OPS of 1.632. I was saying, if you got an OPS over 1, you're a pretty powerful and consistent hitter, and that's impressive. Nebraska's team OPS is 1.082. Indiana's is higher; it's 1.109. So, but we'll see how they do against Jordy and Hannah and Kylie. And we haven't seen Emerson in a game in a while. I think that was
Caitlin.
Well, yeah, Caitlin. I think the last time we saw them was that game again. Was it maybe it was a Minnesota game? Minnesota game. They pitched each of them like a couple of them 2 innings and the other one 3 innings. But I don't know that we've seen Alinsky or Cope since that game, at least on the mound. And
what has Alinsky since then?
Oh God. Well, I don't know. I would hope what's going on there is just the injuries lingering, and that she just hasn't been shunted off to the side, because her problem this year was, like, some of her numbers are high, but she gave up like 3 or 4 home runs. But overall, the teams weren't beating her up. It was just those 4 home runs turned into a lot of runs. So I don't know. We wish her the best, because last year she led the team in ERA and it turned into like the game 1 starter due to other injuries, and then she got hurt in that game. Pitched really well in that game, but then got hurt, and she was done for the year. Let's see. After that, you have Avery Parker, who's hitting .431, 10 homers, 50 RBIs, 1.265 OPS, and then here's Brianna Copeland, the pitcher. She hits .339, but her on base percentage is .464. So she's not swinging anything bad when that's 120 points higher than her batting average. She has 12 homers, 38 RBIs, 1.175 OPS, and she's a not big girl, but she's a big athletic gal, and she's stolen 12 bases. So we'll see. It seems to what's going to be the difference is our pitching. But I don't know. Thoughts on Indiana, Miley? She's not the best color man in the world for nothing, folks.
Oh, fuck off.
The great Bob Uecker line from Major League.
Yeah, I know. All the time.
Right.
I think they can get things. I don't think it's going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, hopefully, like that 3 games mentality comes into play. So it's not going to be 2 games. But you never know.
Yeah, you never know. That's the thing. You never know.
They're at home too, so
right. And geez, is that their last home series? Is Maryland? I know they're at Washington, and I think Maryland might be on the road too.
I'll check.
You check for us. Oh, I think I did. Believe it or not, it's like I always write down what I try to make notes of what I think the storylines are. Is that at home?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was hoping it wasn't just over after this Saturday, so I'd really enjoy the home games. Yeah, we'll actually have to get to a game or 2 of those together, because I want to see if I can stuff you. I want to see if I can stuff you in the press box, and then while I run around and play with the camera a little. What do you say to that?
What?
Stop reading her texts. It's tough enough keeping a straight face with you, and now we've got this third party awful outside interference that I assure you will be dealt with harshly. It's like, get into the comments on the side, Natalie. Don't just text us and crack this poor girl up. But what would you say to something like that? Because you haven't I don't believe you've had the press box experience.
No.
It is actually kind of nice, not having stuff blow away and having that. And oh no, hold on. I was trying to. Oh, thank God. So I was trying to sweep one of those texts off the screen, and I ended up popping off the camera for a sec. Apologies, but yeah, guys, I don't think you've been in the press box yet, and it really is nice because before. It was basically, we got room for about 2 people for a couple, if someone visits from the other team, like their athletic director, and they rearranged it this year and added a lot of space. And there's fun things that happen. Like one game, whenever they're, hey, let's go to the replay. I'm actually sitting next to the guy with the huge replay screen, and he's sitting there anytime we're looking at, hey, that was close, and this dude's bringing it up for us, and we're watching it again in slow motion right there. And I will say, one of the funniest things that happened with an umpire, and it was against, I think it was it Creighton? Yeah, it was against Creighton, and we're up 6-0 on them. Creighton's not going to do anything. And here was a play at first or at second that was really close. It was like a close force play, and so Rhonda comes out and they called her out, and Rhonda wants it reviewed. And it's only the 3rd or 4th inning, so it's not like she's doing this in the last inning just kind of being a jerk. It's a fair review, and the umps, they go over and look at it. He sends them down the stuff, and then the one comes back, and we could hear over a mic talking to us up there, and she just said, like, before she makes the call, you hear her just go, "Moving on, still out," and somebody goes like, "What moving on? What's that mean?" And like three of us start kind of giggling, and I went, "Everybody knows what that means. She just wants to get out of here. She knows Nebraska's killing Creighton, so she's like, moving on, get me home." And then everybody starts laughing. But yeah, so you get up there and you get stuff like that, and then you're hearing what the actual call is. If there's a tight one, and the ump explains it, and just neat stuff like that. And if you just sit there and with your ears open, you hear some pretty good stuff that is like fun stories, but you don't really want to write about it because you're kind of breaking the confidence of the press box. So anyway, that is your preview for Indiana. I think we've covered all our stories. I think we've got all our comments done. Oh my God, Fred Sacco's here, and Fred, the man that can make even this stuff like this sound dirty, is Andy. Show us your tickers. Yeah, Fred does worse than that. There's times where you'll hear me reading the comments and going down the list, and I'm like, okay, Fred, I can't do that one. But it is our sense of humor. Trust me.
Andy, keep your ticker in place.
Yes, I always do keep my ticker in place, and they're only showing me from the chest up anyway, so no worries about ticker shots. Yeah, now there's pickle shots and ticker shots.
The fuck?
Well, the pickle shots, the new name.
I know what a pickle shot is.
Well, you acted like you didn't, or you just discussed.
I went to college.
Huh?
I went to college.
I know. I paid for a lot of it.
Well,
you're welcome.
And I'll be paying for it until the day I die, probably. So.
Yeah. No, you would have been, but we didn't. None of us wanted that. So anyway, I think we're about done for the evening here, Miley. Would you like to hang around until the 50-minute mark?
I mean, we're probably going to be in place.
Only 19 seconds to go.
I can't wait to go to bed.
Oh, good. I'm actually up. I'm actually up. Usually that's what I do after Tuesdays, especially the football and movie ones, which sometimes get up to the 2-hour mark just because the comments would never stop. But no, it's usually I'm just like, all right, sounds like a good time to throw some pillows on the floor and see what's on Netflix.
He's like, how did you podcast with me? Oh, there goes 2 hours of my night.
I only made you do what, 1 or 2 of those. I knew there's no way in hell I'd get you doing ones that go that long. I didn't even try. And I know I give you a hard time, where we give each other a hard time. But I do did so enjoy having you on those. I think even though we got kicked off of Miracle for violating YouTube policy.
Dumbass.
Bastards. But I was really glad you were there for Friday Night Lights, because I know that especially the TV show is something that we both really enjoyed. But anyway, I think we are done for the evening. Let's go out and get a 2-game sweep of those dirty Hoosiers and bump up that RPI, because I would love nothing more. I have a feeling we'd be back at our metal table for those games, because then that's when everybody's going to cram that press box full, and I might get the boot for that. But I would love nothing more than to be doing a regional in Lincoln, Nebraska. Because here's the thing: my just biggest fear is if Oklahoma State ends up in the top 16, they're sending us to god awful Stillwater again. And I mean it's just where the campus smells of the cows and the whatever that ring the campus, and it is literally just a drive to the middle of nowhere. And I knew I was right when Matt Rule talked about taking the job and said it was just the city of Lincoln that really.
You've talked about this before on here.
Well, not for a few weeks, but it was the Lincoln campus, because we don't have the same viewers every week. But the Lincoln campus won him over, and he specifically compared Stillwater as like, God, a place like that would just suck, or something like along those lines. I'm sure he didn't say suck, but yeah, and that would have been 15 seconds quicker if you didn't interrupt to complain. There it is. I told someone the biggest trouble with the show is trying not to have you flip me off too often. I think that's the only one tonight. And you can't just start firing them up now to run up the tally. That's the only one that counts. So we will call it an evening. Miley, thank you as always.
GBR.
GBR. Everybody, we love you. Tune in, tell your friends, and God, go Big Red. Let's see if we can make a little charge for that home field advantage. Good night. Go Big Red. Love you guys. See you next Tuesday.